My Best Friend is the first segment of the first episode of the first season of Clifford the Big Red Dog, and I'm currently watching the first episodes of all of the shows that I grew up with as a child, and this one was towards the end of my childhood. It was released in 2000 when I was 8, so I probably watched it for a few years. So even though I think I watched it regularly, I don't have that many specific memories of individual stories and indeed some characters. So I was keen to check this one out, and I genuinely thought this was an English TV show. I honestly thought this was set in England, or an island just off of England, and it's not. It's American. So I'm not sure where that false memory came from, but that was my first surprise. The second surprise is that one of the characters, Jetta, is voiced by Kath Soucie, which I didn't realise, so that was pretty great. I did remember that Cleo is voiced by Cree. I definitely remembered that. We also have Griffin as Emily and John Ritter as the voice of Clifford. And if you're unaware, Clifford is, well, he's a big red dog, and as we learn in the intro, Emily's love made Clifford grow so big. And I do feel like as a first episode, or a first segment, I think we should have had a little bit more background information. I know the intro and the theme song, they give us all of the information. Clifford grew huge, they had to move to Birdwell Island, but I do feel like I would have liked a little bit more of a proper introduction to the characters with this first episode. Maybe some people like the fact that it jumps straight into a narrative and we don't have too much setting up. But personal preference means I would have liked more of a solid, this is definitely the first episode kind of episode. But it is very sweet nevertheless. Emily is trying to find something special to take to school for show and tell, and she spends the entire episode trying to find something and she just can't think of anything. And I won't tell you what she ultimately brings. I think it's probably quite obvious, certainly to older viewers, maybe not so much to younger viewers, but it was a fun story. It was very sweet, and the animation for this is really satisfying. I love the animation. I think the colour choice for Clifford is so iconic. It's such a beautiful, bright red colour. As soon as I see the colour, as soon as I see Clifford, instantly recognisable. I think they did a great job with the design of the character, of Clifford, but indeed of all of the characters. I think it's a very beautiful animation style with a really pleasing colour palette. We have a lot of bright colours mixed with a lot of softer colours. The setting is great. We do get to go to a lot of different locations in this and talk with different characters. So even though I don't think it's a very strong inaugural segment, I do think that we still get to interact with quite a few people, and we do start to get a good sense of the other dogs on the island as well, which is quite nice. So it's not bad. It's absolutely not bad. It's maybe not what I would have wanted for a first episode, but I do like it. And I imagine a lot of people, young children, will be able to relate to this. We had show and tell at school, but it was never mandatory. It was something where if you had something you wanted to bring in or a skill you wanted to show off, you could volunteer yourself. And I think we did it on like a Friday or something. I remember somebody brought in, I think, a pogo stick. My memories are very vague of this. But the point there is that I've never had mandatory show and tell. But I feel like it's something a lot of schools do to encourage children to open up, to talk about themselves, their hobbies, their home life. Definitely gives an indication of what their home life is like depending on what it is that they bring in. And I think that's a really, really great thing. But as we see with Emily Elizabeth, it can be quite stressful to try and find something to bring in. So definitely a sense of relatability for some children there. And for me, it was very nostalgic. I didn't remember the episode specifically. As I said, my specific memories of Clifford are kind of weak, but nevertheless, I did find this to be nostalgic with the animation style. Yep, I definitely thought it was English, but if anybody knows why I thought that, please let me know. Was there an English version? I mean, I doubt it. I just really must be misremembering it. But that aside, I definitely remembered the animation and some of the characters. It was nice to rediscover bits that I'd maybe forgotten, and although it's not exactly what I would have wanted from a first segment, My Best Friend was still pretty decent.